Okay, so I decided to do this video on forgiveness and trying to understand what forgiveness is. And so I was watching this talk called, it's like called Tackle the Text with this pastor and a few other pastors. The only one I remember is Torrance Moore as being one of the pastors there, and a guy that I seen at on a TD Jakes video. I don't remember his name, but he's a known pastor at the Lighthouse Church in, I think, Houston, Texas. So I had started to, I was dealing with unforgiveness. I had a bad breakup with someone. I thought it would last forever, and a lot of the things that happened in that relationship left like a sour taste in my mouth. And I was dealing with a lot of pain, and I was trying to figure out, how do you forgive? Because I want to forgive this person, because I do know that a lot of the things that happened had a lot of outside influences, and I don't feel like that's that person's true character, because I've known this person my whole life. And some of the things that I did in the relationship, I hope that he understands, is not my true character, because what you've done sometimes is not always what you do. A lot of different things can play a role in your behavior. And I started to do some research on, how do you forgive someone? How? When you put your dreams and your hopes in that person, or in the plan that you all have, and when that person decides that that's no longer the plan that they want, how do you forgive them? And this is someone I've been friends with my whole life. This person was my very first friend next to my sister. So it's not someone that I'm willing to just say, hey, I exclude you from my life. I don't want you no more in my life. I'm done. I don't feel like that's a form of forgiveness, because we've been able to speak into each other's life, and something in my heart is telling me, like, you're going to need that love for that person later. And so I've been meditating on it. And I heard Oprah Winfrey say one time that, forgiveness is knowing that there is no payback for what they've done. And that one seemed to go better with my situation than other things, like hoping that their life still turns out great. And one of the things I've been telling myself is that God has already forgiven them. God does not love you any more than he loves him, or loves him any less than he loves you. Yes, you got hurt. Yes, the plans changed. But God says, I am before all things. So with that, you have to forgive yourself for some of the things that you've done in the relationship, and as a reaction. So one of the pastors on that Tackle the Talk under forgiveness, he said that, what did he say? Your response, something along the line. Oh, hold on, I wrote it down. I'll look it up. I wrote it down. I'm driving, by the way. Don't do this at home. So he said, your response has value, but your reaction has consequences. And when he said that, it hit home. So when somebody's saying something for you, because it starts to trinkle in your mind. You think on it, you ponder it, you flip it, you dissect it, and then you use it. So when he said that, I'm like, wow. So my response had value, but I didn't respond well. But my actions had consequences, because some of the things I'd done after getting hurt, I'm not very proud of. But I know that God shows us mercy. And no matter how they treated me or he treated me, I should have not responded in the manner that I did. So, number one, you have to forgive your role in it. And then, number two, you have to forgive them. Like, at first I was so angry. I was like, oh, I hope this happens. I hope that happens. You're going to see this, that, and the third. And then God told me, like, what you're doing is speaking curses over his life. And I'm like, whoa, God, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not the person that I am. So, I did apologize to that person and tell them, like, only God can predict your future, not a person.
In 1.9 miles, turn left onto State Road 60.
I missed my turn. So, I had to forgive myself for those things. Then I had to, I'm turning around, so excuse me if I'm looking away from the camera more. Then I had to think about it. Think about it with the eyes of, okay, if I go back to before I ever got hurt, if I go back to our friendship before he hurt me, what would I wish for him? What would I hope happens in his life if he had never hurt me? Because I'm not God. I'm not the end all. His life is still going to go on outside of me. And so I had to start speaking it out of my mouth. I hope his life goes well. Because words have power, and the power of life and death is in our tongue. So I had to start saying that even to myself. And every time I thought about the pain that he caused me, or the pain that the situation caused me, I had to tell myself, Natalie, I love you. I love you, Natalie. You're important, Natalie.
2 miles, turn right onto North Campbell Road.
And the more and more I started to say those things, and the more and more I started to talk to God about my pain, he began to heal me. And the more I started wishing well for his life, and I started praying that he be healed, because it's always something behind that. Maybe some of the things I did triggered some things in his heart and in his mind that caused pain, and a lot of times we run away from pain and we try to kill the help. And no matter how good my intentions were with him, he couldn't see that, because he couldn't see past his hurt that he was obviously dealing with from other situations, and myself included. And so I began to say a lot of stuff, and as women, we got sharp tongues at times. And I began to say a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff that wasn't true to my character. And some of the stuff I said, it was lies. I just wanted to hurt him how he hurt me. And it wasn't until I stepped away from the situation that God was able to reveal to me some of the things that I did, that could have caused his reaction to me to be that way. And, you never know what God has in store for you or for them. But one of the things they also said on that talk was, if you don't forgive, you become the person that you won't forgive. And someone else had told me that same thing. They're like, be careful so you don't turn into him. And I didn't understand, but Paul plants Apollo waters. So when that person close to me had said that to me, it didn't register. But then when I heard it in another form, it registered. And if you don't forgive that person, you'll become that person and do the very same things that they did to hurt you to someone else. And forgiveness is for you, because that hurt, it can eat up at you, and you can become bitter and angry and mad at the world. And men were trying to talk to me, and I would talk to them, but the moment they said something I didn't like, I dismissed them. I wanted to hurt men. I was angry. I don't want to talk to you. Just mean stuff, stuff women do. And I started to see a lot of hurt women. Like, I started to see it like on social media, in their behavior, the things that they do. I realized that they're reacting that way because they were hurt and they never forgave. And I don't want that sitting in me. I don't want that bitterness. I don't want that poison. I don't want that. You know, so to that person, if you've ever seen this video, I forgive you. And I wish you well. I hope that you get the desires of your heart. And I had to be careful on that. I hope you get, but you know, I hope God gives you the desires of your heart. And I pray that one day you find peace. You know, and it's not easy to get to that point, and I'm still going through the process, but I do believe, you know, that God is faithful. You know, and what God has ordained is ordained, and no one can change it. You know, so if that relationship is meant to be with that person, then I won't have to do anything. They'll come back, you know, and they'll apologize and they'll make things right. Just as I did. You know, they may not do it as quickly as I did because I have a real close relationship with God. Me and him, you know, we talk every day, all day. And, you know, just to let y'all know, I'm one of his favorites and he don't play about me. So, yeah, know that. Sorry to tell you. But they may not have that same relationship with God that I do. You know, men are different in their relationships with God because they're designed to be ahead. You know, they're designed to be a leader. So sometimes it is hard for them to submit to God and his will and his way. And, you know, as women, we are nurturers and we want to help. You know, when Adam saw Eve, he said, finally, a helpmeet, you know. So one of our designs is to help. We like to improve, make things better. Hey, I can help you with that, you know. And in your role for forgiveness, you know, don't be too hard on yourself, but don't be too lax on yourself. Just, you know, push for forgiveness. Ask God for understanding, you know, and or whatever you believe in, you know. It's like a father with many sons. You have to come at them in different angles. But when God wants you, he gonna get you. So whatever it is that you find peace in, or your spiritual guidance or your enlightenment, push hard for it, because you don't want that poison to come back on you. And you don't want to speak curses over people's lives, because you don't want nobody speaking curses over your life or your children's life or anybody that you love life. And you'll have to remember that God loves them regardless of the hurt and the pain. Shoot, that was my turn.
In 1 mile, turn right onto Salem Church Road.
Okay, so I guess I can do the 1 mile. Regardless of the hurt and pain that they've caused you, God still loves them. Regardless of the sin, regardless of what it was that they've done to you, God still loves them. And there's a reason why they done that to you. Maybe they never forgave the person who done that same thing to them. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about hurt and pain, period. But anyway, that's my take on forgiveness. You can reference some of those things that I reference. I'll reference some of those things that I did in my research for forgiveness. One was I listened to Tackle the Talk by Lighthouse Church. It has like 3 or 4 guys on there. They're spiritual leaders, and they're talking about forgiveness. Sorry about that light in this video. And then also Oprah Winfrey has some motivational videos on YouTube in which she talks about forgiveness. Those both have been very helpful. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you find forgiveness. I pray God's blessings over your life and peace that surpasses all understanding. Oh yeah, and that was one of the things that I had to pray for. I realized I had to pray for more than just peace. I started praying for God's peace that surpasses understanding. Good luck to you. Bye.